we're going to talk about Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem's wall. Pero meron po ako ditong sub-team nakalagay, leadership that builds and inspires. Sana po ang layunin natin sa pamamagitan ng pag-aaral na ito ay ma-inspire nga tayo, no, sa leadership principle that we will be learning from the life of Nehemiah. So, ito po yung ating mga pag-uusapan. We will talk about many things, yung background ng Nehemiah. I'm going to give you some trivias about the book and of course yung leadership principles. Kaya ko po sinasabing kaya ko po laging tinatalakay yung leadership principles because I want this actually for us to use, no, sa ating paglilingkod. We are servant leaders, so therefore we can learn from the principles or leadership principles from the books that we are actually studying. Of course, natin yan. We will take the key takeaways for each one to apply. And eventually, at the end, we're going to have some discussions. Huwag kayong alis pagdating sa discussion kasi doon lalabas yung mga insights nyo di po ba? Now, introduction muna. Well, basically, the book of Nehemiah, this is not just actually about rebuilding or just rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. Although, mainly, makikita natin, yun yung talagang mission na ginawa ni Nehemiah. But this is also about restoring the people of God through the leadership of Nehemiah, and you will see a lot of prayers and even how he was able to gather the people to do the project in a way that everybody will work, o yung tinatawag nating teamwork, no? Well, basically si Nehemiah hindi siya prophet, hindi rin siya priest, no? He could be considered as a layman. Basically, he was a cupbearer of a king back in the exile. But eventually, kahit layman lang siya na maituturing natin, he was used by God so that the people of Israel will be led to do the great project of rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem. Now, we are going to look at Nehemiah as our model as we prayerfully, with visionary mindset and serving in the ministry with the heart, just like him, we will look at him as our model. So marami po tayong mga leadership principles na matututunan dito. Okay? So simulan natin, background muna. Traditionally, the book of Nehemiah is being known as the book that were written basically by Nehemiah. But eventually, in the later studies, it looks like the book of Nehemiah were written not only by Nehemiah but with Ezra also. In fact, sa Jew, sa Bible ng mga Hudyo, the book of Nehemiah and Ezra were actually considered as one book. So ang date din nito ay 445 to 432 BC during the Persian rule, as the Israelites were coming back to Jerusalem. So ang setting nito, yung Jerusalem, ang wall niya broken down. And it's very, very important for the people of Israel to rebuild the wall because it means security. Kapag ang syudad ay merong pader, secured sila sa mga kaaway na maaring lumusob sa kanila ng mga oras. So yun ang condition. Because of the Babylonians' destruction during the siege, they left Jerusalem's wall broken. And as Nehemiah was coming back, this was actually his mission to rebuild the wall, and not only that also, but to encourage the vulnerable people who were living at that time. So ang mission ni Nehemiah, he was actually burdened to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem and of course restore the people. Parang picture to ng as they were rebuilding actually the wall, they were also rebuilding or restoring God's people back to God. Now, magbabasa lang ako ng ilang mga talata para at least may feel kayo. Pero ang suggestion ko sa inyo is that you read through it or listen to a audio Bible. Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 1, dito nagsisimula. The words of Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah, in the month of Kislev in the 28th year, while I was in the citadel of Susa, Hanani, one of my brothers, came from Judah with some other men, and I questioned them about the Jewish remnant that had survived the exile and also about Jerusalem. So basically, ang setting nito, si Nehemiah was in exile at merong mga nauna na mga Hudyo na bumalik doon. Remember sa Book of Ezra, di ba may dalawang grupo na kung saan nakarating na doon. Now merong bumalik, coming back to Persia or to the place where Nehemiah was. Yung isang kapatid nila na ang pangalan ay Hanani, tinanong niya, sabi, kinumusta niya, anong nangyari? Anong nangyari doon sa mga tao sa Jerusalem at yung mga nakasurvive sa exile? They said to me, verse 3, those who survived the exile are back in the province, are in great trouble and disgrace. So hindi magandang balita. Sabi niya, the people are in great trouble. At maraming problema sila at hindi lang nakakahiya ang kanilang kalagayan. At sinunod niya, sabi, the wall of Jerusalem is broken down and its gates have been burned with fire. When I hear these things, I sat down and wept. So anong nabalitaan ni Nehemiah? Hindi maayos ang kalagayan ng mga tao sa Jerusalem. Sira ang pader at sunog ang gates, no? Eventually, when he heard this news, he had a holy compassion. Parang naawa siya sa kalagayan ng mga tao sa Jerusalem. And immediately, tingnan niyo kung anong ginawa niya sa verse 4. When I hear this, immediately you will see, sabi niya, I sat down and wept. I sat down and wept for some days. Gaano daw katagal? Hindi lang isang araw, kundi for some days. He mourned, sabi niya, I mourned and fasted and prayed before God of heaven. Immediately, when Nehemiah learned that the condition of the people in Jerusalem were not so good, they were in trouble, they were disgraced, immediately he sat down, he wept, he mourned, and he fasted, praying to God in heaven. So makikita nyo agad doon, may ibang klaseng puso itong leader na ito. Itong leader na ito, merong kakaiba sa kanya. He was able to discern what's the need, and he knows actually where to go in times of trouble and need. Okay? So these are some of the trivias in the book of Nehemiah. Ito yung mga trivias na i-share ko sa inyo. Number 1, who was Nehemiah? Yan ang tanong. Well, basically, in Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 11, makikita nyo doon na Nehemiah was actually a cupbearer of King Artaxerxes of Persia. Naka nyo? A cupbearer actually is a well-trusted position in the time of yung mga kings. Bakit? Kasi pag cupbearer ka, ang ibig sabihin lahat ng mga pagkain na kakainin nung hari dumadaan sa iyo. So meaning to say, a cupbearer is a trusted position of influence. Normally, pag kakain siya, kausap niya yung cupbearer. And the cupbearer sees to it that everything, every food and drinks that will be consumed by the king is fine. Meaning, kasi sa time ng mga hari, ina-assassinate ang mga hari sa pamamagitan ng paglalason. So, pinopoison. And so, para hindi mangyari yun, meron silang tinatawag na cupbearer. Parang Ministry of Food, no? Yung Secretary of Food para lahat ng kakainin nung hari ay nababantayan. At dahil nga ang cupbearer ay ang siyang nagbibigay ng pagkain sa hari, dapat katiwa-tiwala siya. So meaning to say, a cupbearer or the position of Nehemiah as cupbearer is a well-trusted position of influence. Okay, so cupbearer siya. Just like I said kanina, hindi siya priest, hindi siya prophet. He was just a layman, a cupbearer actually. But he was in a position of influence. Ngayon, pangalawa, kasi di ba ang book of Nehemiah is a book about rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem. Gaano ba katagal ginawa ang wall? Well, only 52 days. Nehemiah were able to accomplish the whole wall of Jerusalem in just 52 days. Grabe, malaki yun, no? Ibig sabihin 52 days. Parang kulang-kulang 2 buwan. Nagawa niya yun. Kakaiba yung leadership niya, strategy. Siguro kung sa ating ngayon dito, Baka yung mga contractor, baka hindi lang 2 buwan, baka abutin pa ng taon. Pero Nehemiah were able to lead the people to do that in just 42 days. That was an accomplishment actually. Okay? Well, ito yung mga chapter that proves or supports those claims, no? Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 11, sabi rito, Lord, let your ear be attentive to the prayer of this your servant and to the prayer of your servants who delight in revering your name. Give your servant success today by granting him favor in the presence of this man. This was actually the time where Nehemiah is going to serve the king. At ang prayer niya, sana pagpunta ko po doon, may hihingin akong request. Kasi nga, ang request niya, gusto niyang pumunta sa Jerusalem to rebuild the wall. And he was actually praying to God. And eventually, he rebuilt, sabi niya, ayan ang trabaho niya. I was cupbearer to the king. It's very notable that whenever Nehemiah knows something bad, the first thing that he does is pray. And before he goes to the king to ask for some request, anong ginawa niya ulit? Nag-pray siya ulit. Sana yun din ang gawin natin. Bago tayo gumawa ng mga malalaking bagay, unahin muna natin talaga yung panalangin. Sapagkat sa panalangin ay meron talagang kapangyarihan. Another verse, Nehemiah 6:15 to 16, dito naman pinapakita na 52 weeks. Sabi rito, verse 15, so the wall was completed in 25th of Elul in 52 days. 52 days lang nila nagawa yung galing, mahusay itong si Nehemiah. When all our enemies heard about this, all the surrounding nations were afraid and lost their self-confidence because they realized that this work had been done with the help of God. So, makikita nyo rito yung reason bakit nagawa nila in just 52 days. Well, ni-reveal din ni Nehemiah kung ano yung sikreto. And what was the secret? They have done this with the help of God. Nakuha nyo? Well, may konting reflection lang doon. No? Whenever we have some projects projects na binigay sa atin na gagawin natin, I hope that we will do it with in mind, no, that God is going to help us, or that we will ask God's help to do whatever projects that God is allowing us to do. Nakuha nyo? So, trivia number 3. Sino yung mga kaaway ni Nehemiah? Well, basically, 3 yan. Si Sanballat, si Tobiah, at saka Geshem. Alam nyo, kahit may pinapagawa sa atin ng Panginoon, no, it does not necessarily mean na walang problema. May problema. In fact, when you're actually truly doing God's work, there are enemies who's going to stop us from doing that work. Si Nehemiah, hindi siya na-spare. Ganon din siya. May mga kaaway na lumabas. Number 4, trivia. What was the first thing Nehemiah did when he heard of Jerusalem's condition? Anong ginawa? Nung narinig yung condition, he wept, he mourned, he fasted, and he prayed. I think that's the best thing to do whenever we hear bad news, no, about our families, about the people that we love, or even about the nation that we have right now. Mga kapatid, konting reflection lang. Alam niyo naman nangyayari sa bayan natin ngayon, di ba? At malamang katulad ko kayo, galit na galit kayo doon sa mga kumurakot ng ating mga pondo. Maayos na sana yung bayan natin. Hindi sana tayo binabaha, pero kinurakot ng mga gahaman sa salapi. At marahil katulad ko kayo, galit na galit kayo sa nangyayari sa ating bayan. Pero let me ask this question. Ilan sa inyo yung totoong nanalangin? Mabalitaan nyo na yung mga politiko natin, nagkanya-kanya na silang kuha ng pera. How many of you really prayed, Lord, tulungan mo kami sa aming bayan. Tulungan mo na makaahon ng aming bayan. At sana bigyan nyo kami ng mga leader na may takot sa inyo. Alam nyo, si Nehemiah, very concerned sa kanyang bayan. Nung narinig niya yung negatibong nangyari sa kanila, anong ginawa niya? Nag-pray siya. Hindi lang basta nag-pray, nag-fasting, with weeping and mourning. Meaning to say, umiiyak talaga siya. Alam nyo, sa kalagayan ng ating bayan ngayon, dapat umiiyak na talaga tayo eh. Kasi ang ibig sabihin nito, yung mga anak natin ang magsasuffer because of the trillions of peso that were plundered from us. Daming mga natupad na project. I would like to call on everyone here to pray. Manalangin tayo. Pag-pray natin ang bayan natin. Okay. Next, Nehemiah chapter 1 verse 4. Dito makita nyo, tingnan nyo ha. Verse 4, sabi ng Bible, when I hear these things, nung narinig daw ni Nehemiah yung balita, anong ginawa niya? I sat down and wept for some days. I mourned and fasted and prayed before God in heaven. Whenever there are problems, the first thing that we need to do is to pray. Actually, to mourn, to weep, to fast, and to pray. Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 19 and chapter 4 verse 5. Dito makikita nyo yung mga kaaway ni Nehemiah. Verse 19, but when Sanballat, the Horonite, Tobiah, the Ammonite official, and Geshem, the Arab, heard about this, ano yung narinig nila? The people of Israel were actually starting to build the wall. What is the wall all about? For protection, to protect God's people. Isipin mo, ang iniisip ni Nehemiah is to help the people so that they will be protected. Pero may mga tao na may mga tao na ayaw yun. Nakuha nyo? Ayaw yung proyektong yun. So sabi nila, what is this that you are doing? They asked, are you rebelling against the king? So they were accusing Nehemiah as rebelling the king. Where in fact, yung king mismo ang nagbigay sa kanya ng pahintulot na gawin yung wall of Jerusalem. In fact, hindi lang siya binigyan ng pahintulutan, binigyan din siya ng resources. Another verse, chapter 4, verse 1, when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became angry and was greatly incensed. He ridiculed the law. So anong ibig sabihin nito? Well, nagalit talaga. Nagagalit. Ayun yung sinasabi ko kanina. Sometimes, hindi lang sometimes, oftentimes, when you do God's work, you have to expect opposition. Kasi ang demonyo, ayaw niya naman talaga na gawin natin yung pinagagawa ng Panginoon. And so therefore, magpapadala siya ng mga kaaway. So, okay magtaka, no? Kung ang ginagawa nyo, in fact, kung ang ginagawa nyo talaga tama, expect nyo may opposition. Kasi kapag ang ginagawa nyo ay, halimbawa may ginagawa kayo, tapos iniisip nyo tama, tapos walang opposition, I doubt it. Because the devil, Satan, is always opposed to the work of God. Nakuha nyo? Okay, trivia number 5. Sino ang tumulong kay Nehemiah during the spiritual renewal of the people? Well, in chapter 8, verse 1 to 9, you will see Ezra, the scribe. Naalala nyo sa book of Ezra, si Ezra na nawagan sa mga Israelita na rededicate nila ang kanilang sarili because during this time actually they intermarried, meaning to say nag-asawa sila ng mga hindi Israelita, and so therefore their wives were actually worshiping idols. Now at this time, si Nehemiah, while he was building the wall of Jerusalem, he wanted also the people to spiritually renew their commitment to God. And during that time, Ezra, the scribe, helped him. So magka-contemporary sila. Okay, number 6. What strategy did Nehemiah use when facing threats while building the wall? During the time, di ba, tinitreat sila na lulusubin sila. Sabi sa kanila, yung ginagawa niyo, walang kwenta yan. So Nehemiah has to think of a strategy para yung mga gumagawa, hindi takot, hindi sila matakot. At the same time, secure. Nakuha nyo? Anong ginawa niya? So, this is what actually happened. The workers held a weapon on one hand and worked with the others. Meaning to say, habang nagtatrabaho sila, may hawak-hawak silang sandata. Para anytime, nanilusob sila, makakalaban sila. At binigyan niya actually ng instruction na kapag may isang lugar na nilusob, tatawag sila sa kabilang lugar o sa ibang grupo na kung saan meron ding hawak-hawak ng mga sandata upang ipagtanggol ang kanilang sarili kung sila man ay lulusubin. So, ganun ang strategy na ginawa ni Nehemiah. Nakuha nyo? Meaning to say, hindi lang sila trabaho ng trabaho. Wise din sila. Ginamit din nila ang kanilang isip kung paano nila mapoproteksyonan ng kanilang sarili. Okay, Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 17, ito yung mababasa natin. Who were building the wall? Those who carried materials did their work with one hand, na doon sa kabila, and held a weapon on the other. So, I suggest basahin yung buong Nehemiah, yung buong chapter 4, makikita nyo dyan. Nung tinetret na sila, ginagawa na yung wall, pinayuhan niya lahat na nagtatrabaho. Lahat na nagtatrabaho, kumuha kayo ng sandata. Habang nagtatrabaho, dala-dala nila yung kanilang sandata to protect themselves. Trivia number 7. So, what is very unique about Nehemiah's prayer? Anong kakaiba na makikita mo sa mga panalangin? Actually, ang book of Nehemiah, hindi lang isang portion ng book o isang chapter, merong panalangin. Actually, halos sa bawat chapter, merong may mga prayers si Nehemiah while he was doing the surveying, habang sinusurvey niya yung wall, bago pa lang sila dumating sa Jerusalem, nananalangin siya. Pagdating niya, sinurvey niya, nagpe-pray na siya. Nung kinuha niya yung mga tao, iniipon yung mga tao, nagpray siya, hanggang sa pagtatrabaho, hanggang sa yung mga kaaway nila. So the book records many of his personal prayers. This actually tells us that he is totally dependent on God. Although binigyan siya ng resources ng hari, binigyan siya ng permit, may mga tao siya, pero he did not depend on the resources or the people. He depend on God. So you will read short and long prayers. Number 8, trivia. What covenant did the people renew after the wall was completed? Nung matapos na yung wall in 52 days, they call on the people to come together and they encourage them to pledge themselves to obey the law, to keep the Sabbath, meaning to say to celebrate Sabbath. Sabbath is worshiping. This is actually rest, but this is also a time to worship God. So, hinihimok niya mga tao, sundin natin ang batas. Hindi lang yan, hinihimok niya ang mga tao, sabi niya ipanghili natin ang araw ng Sabat, at sabi niya iwasan natin, let's avoid intermarriage and support the temple. Meaning to say, yung mga tao na nakatira doon, kasi they were living actually with the unbelievers, the Ammonites, the Amorites, kung ano-anong mga Ang ilan sa kanila, nagsipag-asawa nga ng mga hindi Israelita. Kailangan nilang ma-avoid yun. Alam niyo kung bakit? Para hindi sila mahawaan uli ng kanilang pananampalataya. Remember, they were exiled, kaya nga sila na ipatapon sa Babylon. Kasi bakit? Kasi nga, yung mga ninuno sa time ng kings, yung mga pinuno, sumasamba sa Diyos-Diyosan. Dahil nga, na-influensyahan sila ng mga hindi mananampalataya. Okay? And also, Nehemiah, not only Ezra and Nehemiah encourages actually the people of Israel to support the temple. Remember, during this time, may project din sila, di ba? Yung templo ay ginagawa. So, it needs support to be completed. Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 4 to 5. Hear us, ito yung mga prayers ni Nehemiah. Hear us, our God, for we are despised. Turn their insults back on their own heads. Give them over as plunder in a land of captivity. Do not cover up their guilt or blot out their sins from your sight, for they have thrown insults in the face of the builders. Grabe yung panalangin niya, Talagang makikita mo talaga yung damdamin niya. Panginoon, pakinggan niyo po kami. Hinahamak na kami. Huwag niyong pahintulutan ng mga taong to na insultuhin kami. In fact, sabi niya, huwag niyong hayaan na mawalang yung mga ginagawa nila ay hindi magantihan. Parang ganon. He was actually praying for help. Nakuha niyo. So number 10, trivia. What celebration happened after the completion of the wall? Well, after the completion of the wall, there was a great dedication. A service, choir marching on the top of the wall. Nagkaroon ng praise and worship at the top of the at the top of the wall. Nakuha nyo? Nakasulat yan sa Nehemiah chapter 12. So, number 10, trivia. Why is Nehemiah considered a model leader? Ito yung mga reason. Because he combined prayer, vision, organization, courage, accountability in serving God's people. Grabe siya. Napaka-visionary niyang tao. Pero yung vision niya, hindi lang basta sa kanya He was actually getting or taking strength from God Himself. Tapos hindi siya pag nagtrabaho siya with systematic. So inorganize yung mga tao, tapos in fact may accountability, pinapacheck niya yung mga pondo na meron sila. And of course, he also took stand against the enemies, no? Kahit may mga kaaway, tuloy sila. Minsan kasi, di ba, pag may ginagawa tayong mabuti at maganda, tapos may nag-o-oppose sa atin, parang pinanghihinaan tayo ng kalooban, parang ayaw na natin ituloy. Kasi may nag-oppose. Pero si Nehemiah, hindi ganun. So that he is a considered a model leader. Alam niyo, kung gusto niyo matuto ng leadership talaga, you read through Nehemiah, the book of Nehemiah, you will learn a lot of leadership principles. Now, let's go to the leadership principles that you and I can learn from the book. Ano yung mga leadership principle na pwede nating matutunan at ipamuhay? Remember, we are leaders, you are servant leaders. So these are the leadership principles that you and I need to learn. Number 1, leadership begins with a burden. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Si Nehemiah, before he took the position of leadership in Jerusalem, building the wall, ang unang-unang ginawa niya actually, he wept and prayed, right? Nehemiah wept and prayed when he heard of Jerusalem's condition. Bakit ganun? Bakit siya umiyak at nanalangin? Kasi grabe yung burden niya. So true leaders actually feel the need deeply before they act. Yung mga totoong leader, nararamdaman nila yung kalagayan. At yung mga nakakaramdam talaga ng sitwasyon, kalagayan, sila yung mga effective as leader because they understand what's happening. But you see, he started to feel the need before he acted. So, what lesson can we learn from this? Ito yun. Leadership starts with compassion and a sense of responsibility. Alam niyo, kung gusto niyo maging leader, you have to understand that leadership is not just position. Leadership is an influence actually. But before you will have an influence, you should start with compassion and a sense of responsibility. Yung mga tao na gustong maging leader for the sake of the position, pero walang compassion, walang sense of responsibility, I tell you, they are not effective when it comes to leadership. Kasi position lang naman ang gusto nila, title lang. Kaya tayong mga servant leader, we are not after the title. We are after with the project or the things that God wants us to accomplish. Naka nyo? And we feel with compassion and a sense of responsibility. Alam niyo, kapag nakakita kayo ng taong ganon, halimbawa may kumpanya ka, tapos yung tauhan mo may compassion at may sense of responsibility, huwag niyong pakawalan yun kasi that person is an asset. The same thing with the ministry. We're looking for people who have compassion and a sense of responsibility to discipling the people. Nakuha nyo? And I'm very glad, actually I'm very encouraged whenever I see people, mga leaders natin sa WOTG, nagpo-post ng kanilang D-group online. Nakakatuwa yun. Makikita mo talaga na they are serving with a sense of responsibility. Now, number 2, leadership is fueled by prayer. That's one of the things that we can learn from Nehemiah. Nehemiah prayed before acting, planning, and speaking to the king. Makikita niyo yun sa chapter 1. Chapter 1, bago pa siya tumilos, nagplano, at makipag-usap sa hari, ang unang-unang ginawa niya, nanalangin siya. He depended on God more than his own ability. Alam niyo, may malaking temptation talaga na imbis na sa Diyos tayo magtiwala sa sarili natin. Lalo na kung meron kang pinag-aralan, may pera ka, tapos may napatunayan ka na, di ba? Ang laking temptation na parang di na tayo mag-pray sa sarili na natin. Pero alam nyo, whenever I find myself like that, I start to become ineffective. So what lesson can we learn from this? Listen to this. Prayer is the leader's first tool, not the last resort. Tayo dapat mga leader, ang unang-unang bagay na dapat nating gawin bago sa ano pa mang gawain ay manalangin. Dapat yun ang tool natin. Hindi last resort. May mga tao, ang prayer ginagawa nilang last resort. Yung, wala na kasi ako magawa. Wala na. It's time to pray. Kay Nehemiah, no. He started with prayer. Okay? Prayer is not the last resort. So that is the second leadership principle that we can learn from the book of Nehemiah. Pangatlo, leadership requires vision and planning. Ako niyo? Leadership requires vision and planning. Nehemiah inspected the wall quietly, developed a plan, and shared his vision. Bago siya nag-start ng project, tininin niya muna, chinek niya munang mabuti kung anong kondisyon ng wall, tapos gumawa siya ng plano at shinare niya sa mga tao yung vision. Sinabi niya na kapag ginawa natin to, magiging mabuti tayo, magiging maayos, magiging ligtas. Tama niyo? And when the people caught that vision, they participated. Ganun dapat tayo mga leader. Tama niyo? Pag leader ka, dapat marunong ka mag-share na kung ano ang pinagagawa sa ng Panginoon. Actually, our vision should intentionally compel people so that they will step up. Nakuha nyo? Step up and also join in the vision that God shared us. So the people responded, and what did the people say? Sabi mga tao, let us rise up and build, because he was able to encourage, to allow the people catch the vision. So anong lesson natin matutunan dito? Leaders must see the problem, form a plan, and inspire others to join. Naka nyo? Kailangan marunong tayo mga leader, marunong tayo mag-inspire ng ibang tao so that they will join us in the vision that God gave us. So dapat makita natin yung problema. Pero hindi lang problema, kundi hanapan natin ng solusyon. Magplano tayo at humanap tayo ng mga tao na makakatulong sa atin. And how do you do that? You inspire people. How do you inspire people? Through your life. Minomodel mo yung yung mga pinaniniwalaan mo, pinapakita mo sa kanila na totoo sa'yo. Minomodel mo yun. Halimbawa, if you want to inspire somebody to pray, so you model prayer. If you want to inspire somebody to read the Bible, so you model reading the Bible. If you want to inspire somebody to lead a small group, so you model it. Meaning to say, through modeling, the people will be able to see that we are true to what we are saying. So, by the way, leadership is influence. So, you should be able to influence others. So, how do you do that? Share the vision, share the plan, and inspire others. Now, another leadership principle that we can learn from this is this: leadership faces opposition with courage. Or I should say, leaders, when there is opposition, they face it with courage. Nakita niyo naman, di ba, may kaaway siya, si Sanballat, si Tobia. Ang ginawa actually ng dalawang to, unang-una, linait-lait sila. Sabi, yung mga tinatayo nyo naman yan, di matitibay yan, walang kwenta yan. And eventually, nung nakikita lang nakakatayo na, hindi nadaan sa pangmamaliit, ngayon nananakot na sila. They were eventually threatened by these people. How did Nehemiah responded? Nehemiah responded with prayer. But not only prayer, work, and being wise with defense. Anong sabi niya? We prayed to God and posted a guard. So, hindi lang prayer, inamit din nila yung kanilang utak. Paano? Naglagay sila ng mga bantay. Nyo? Anong lesson ang pwede natin matutunan dito? God's work will face opposition. Mga kapatid, ganun talaga. Kapag gawain ng Panginoon, the enemy will be angry. So, we will face opposition. So, leaders must combine faith with wise action. Although nag-pray sila, sila Nehemiah, pero hindi lang prayer, bahala na, basta nag-pray na kami. Hindi. Nag-pray siya, pero gumawa din siya ng strategy to guard every one of them. Anong ginawa niya? Naglagay siya ng mga bantay. So, ganun din tayo. Nagpipray tayo, pero nag-iisip din tayo ng mga strategy para mapabuti natin, mapaganda, at maging maayos at panatag, payapa, malayo sa ano pa mang disgrasya o alam mo yan, yung maaring masamang mangyari. Pinag-iisipan din natin yun. Hindi tayo yung, nag-pray na yan, bahala na. Hindi tayo pwedeng ganun. Nagpipray tayo, pero nagpaplano tayo. Tama nyo? Iyan ang isang marka ng isang totoong leader. You pray, but you also combine it with faith in action. Okay, another leadership principle that you and I can learn from the books of Nehemiah: leadership builds people, not just projects. Actually, ano yung project nila? Wall. Ano yung binibuild nila? Yung Wall of Jerusalem. Pero alam nyo, kapag leader ka, hindi lang project yung binibuild nyo, pati tao. After the wall was finished, Nehemiah and Ezra led spiritual renewal through God's word. So yung mga tao na nagtrabaho, sabi, gawa na, build na yung yung wall. Pero hindi lang sila natapos doon o tapos na ang project. Hindi, yung tao dinala nila to a renewal. So this time si Ezra, dahil siya ang scribe, siya ang may hawak ng batas, siya naman ang nagturo. Ganun talaga, no? In the leadership position, we needed people, we need somebody to help us. Wag tayong paluloko na akala natin tayo nasa ating nakasentro lahat sa atin. Nehemiah hindi ganun. He shared leadership. He has Ezra with him to lead people through renewal, spiritual renewal. So, anong ginawa nila? They restored worship, they restored accountability and holiness among people to the point na pinanumpa niya yung mga Israelita. Magsumpahan tayo na hindi tayo mag-aasawa ng hindi mananampalataya. So what lesson can we learn from this? Well, leadership is not just about building structure, but building lives. We have to understand, tayo mga leader, na tayo mismo, mga small group leaders, hindi lang tayo nagpapadami. Listen to this. Hindi tayo nagpapadami ng miyembro sa small group. Although maganda yun na maganda, it's actually expected of us na tayo dapat ay umuunlad, lumalago, dumadami. Nakuha nyo? And I'm happy to seeing groups that are growing in numbers. But listen to this, mga kapatid. Hindi lang tayo sa number nakapokus. Nakapokus din tayo sa tao mismo. Kumusta na yung mga tao na hawak natin? Kumusta na? Marunong bang mag-pray? Marunong na bang magbigay? Marunong na bang mag-serve? Marunong na bang mag-share ng gospel? Nakuha nyo, remember, tayong mga tao, hindi lang tayo consumer dapat. Tayo dapat contributor din. Nakakalungkot, maraming ganyan sa simbahan. Sa simbahan, consumer lang sila. Meaning to say, tagatanggap lang. Pag may blessing, tagatanggap. Tagatanggap ng salita ng Panginoon. Tagatanggap na sila ang ipag-pray, sila ang dadalawin, sila ang ika-counsel, sila ang nakatutok lahat sa kanila. Baka nyo, kapag may mga camp, sila yung bibigyan ng, ang tawag niyan, ililibre sila sa mga nakasentro lahat sa kanila. Tawag sa kanila, consumer. Baka nyo. Pero tayo mga kapatid, hindi. Dapat dinidevelop natin ang ating sarili as well as the people that we are leading. Listen to this. Hindi lang consumer, kundi contributors. Kung dati ikaw ang binibigyan, dapat ngayon marunong ka na magbigay. Kung dati ikaw ang pinagpipray, dapat ngayon marunong ka nang mag-pray din para sa iba. Kung dati ikaw ang nililid, ngayon naglilid ka na at may mga tinuturuan ka na nililid. Naman nyo? So dapat contributors tayo. Okay, ano yung mga key takeaways for us lay leaders? Well, ito yung mga 5 na major from the leadership principle that we have just learned. Number 1, be burdened. Be burdened. Ano ibig sabihin niyang be burdened? You have to look at the heart of God and see the people and ask, what are the needs of these people? Kailangan ma-burden tayo. Kasi alam nyo, hanggat hindi nagkakaroon ng burden sa ating puso, hindi naman tayo kikilos. Halimbawa, sa mga kamag-anak natin, ilan sa mga kamag-anak natin ang hindi paligtas? Sa mga kaibigan, sa mga kapatid. Pag hindi tayo na-burden sa kanila, hindi tayo kikilos, hindi tayo gagawa ng action para sila ay dalhin sa Panginoon. Alam niyo, para ma-burden tayo, kailangan tingnan natin sila, yung mga tao, the way God looks at them. So you have to see the need with the heart of God. So be burdened. Number 2, if there's already a burden, the next thing that you and I need to do is to be prayerful. Because prayer actually is depending on the power of God. So we depend on God in every steps that we are taking. Okay? Naiintindihan ko ang ilan sa atin, lalo sa mga lalaki, gusto natin action agad. That's good. But do not forget to be prayerful. Alam nyo, kailangan ko yan. Araw-araw, kailangan paalalahanan ko sa sarili ko. Sabi nga ng Bible, not by might nor by power, but by the Spirit, says the Lord. Number 3, key takeaways. Be visionary. Ano yung visionary? When you're a visionary person, you see things that normal people do not see. Meaning to say, nakikita mo na kung anong mangyayari kahit wala pa. And by being a visionary person, you can actually inspire people when you start sharing your God-given mission. Nakuha niyo? As many of you knows, kami, ng asawa ko, nag-i-start kami ng church planting dito sa Antipolo. Hindi pa regular yung service, parang once a month pa lang kami nagsiservice. Pero every Sunday, meron kaming training kasi nag-iipon ako ng mga pwede naming makasama to serve in the church. But you see, itong Antipolo o Rock Church Antipolo, nagsisimula pa lang, pero I'm actually starting to share my heart. Yung mga kasama ko sa aming small group, sinasabihan ko na sila, alam nyo, within 2 to 3 years, we are going to plant another 3 churches. That's vision. Meaning to say, nilagay sa iyo ng Panginoon sa puso mo, pinagagawa siya. You start to share that to people because by sharing that, you're actually inspiring them, especially if that is a God-given mission. So be visionary. Number 4, be courageous. Be courageous. We will face challenges, problems, even enemies while we are doing God's mission. But we have to stand firm, stand our ground against any challenges. Never allow the enemies, challenges, or problems to stop you from what God wants Him for you to accomplish. Nakuha nyo? Kadalasan, mga iniisip kasi natin, ako, paano yan? May budget ba? Yan, isa yan sa mga iniisip ko actually. May budget ba kami? May mga tao bang makakatulong? Sinong pupuntahan namin? Anong aabutin? Nakuha nyo, yung mga tanong na ganyan, alam mo, si God rin ang nag-orchestrate. So, be very courageous because we will be victorious. In fact, sabi ni Jesus Christ, take heart, I have overcome the world. So, be courageous. Number 5, be people-focused. Be people-focused. Build faith, not just structures. Dapat nating maintindihan na mas higit sa lahat, ang pinakamahalaga tao. Mahalaga rin yung event, mahalaga yung program, mahalaga yung materials, mahalaga yung mga yun. Pero alam nyo, ang pinakamahalaga yung tao, yung kalagayan ng tao. So, let's put that in our mind. We have to build people. Tama nyo? We have to build faith in them, not just structure. When we are doing that, we are actually being a servant leader. No, servant leaders are leaders. They are not after position. They are not after whatever. They are after people that they can serve because they know that God called them to serve. Naka So yan mga key takeaways natin from the book of Nehemiah. Now, paano natin i-applyan sa buhay natin? Anong applications naman natin from the book of Nehemiah? 3 bagay lang. Ang unang tanong ko sa inyo ito, where do you see broken walls in your community, church, or family? Ano ibig sabihin nun? Sa inyong komunidad, sa inyong church, sa inyong pamilya, ano ba yung need? Ano ba yung mga broken walls na dapat ayusin? Tama nyo? You have to have a burden to fixing those walls. Sa community, sa church, sa family. Kung ano yun, ano yung broken walls na yun, most likely, if God allows you to see those broken walls, meaning to say, yung mga need, most likely, God is calling you to serve in that area. Tama nyo? Halimbawa, sa area nyo, ay kailangan ng kailangan ng mga kabataan na madala sa Panginoon. Ikaw ang nakakita nun. Most likely, baka ikaw ang gamitin ng Panginoon. Alam nyo, sa ngayon, ako at ang asawa ko, every Tuesday and Thursday, nagtuturo kami ng pre-marriage counseling o yung seminar sa City Hall ng Antipolo. Isang nakita ko ngayon, yung need talaga ng mga kalalakihan, katatayan na matuto sila na maging tatay o father sa kanilang mga anak. Kasi ang daming consequences kapag ang mga bata lumaki na fatherless. Siguro one time I'm going to discuss that the consequences of fatherlessness in the society actually. Siguro i-share ko yan sa inyo one time pag natapos tayo dito sa Old Testament natin. So yun, tingnan nyo, ano yung mga broken walls sa community nyo? Ano yung mga pwede nyo itulong o gawin? Nakuha nyo? So start applying the principles that you've learned in those areas. Pangalawang tanong, how can you, like Nehemiah, respond with prayer, vision, and action? So nakita mo yung need sa community, sa church, or sa family mo. Paano ka ngayon tutugon sa panalangin? Diba? Start praying for them. Start looking for a brighter tomorrow for them. And start planning action. Like halimbawa, sample lang, nakita mo na, meron pa akong kapatid o kamag-anak o mahal sa buhay na wala pa sa Panginoon. So, i-envision mo na, vision ko, gusto ko siya makasama sa Panginoon. So, anong action? You start sharing the gospel, inviting them to church, o kaya sa mga seminars and retreats. Or you send our lessons every Sunday. Sendan mo sila ng what G preaching, di ba? So by that actions, you are actually starting to what? To do something about it. Pag-pray, no? Pag-pray natin sila. Start with a prayer. Okay. Number 3, are you building people's faith, not just program? Kumusta yung ginagawa nyo? Kayo ba ay nagbi-build ng tao o ng programa lang? Sa inyong small group, are you really building faith, not just program? So I hope those questions will compel you to do an action to become just like Nehemiah. There was a problem, but he prayed to the Lord. He had that compassion, but he also had a plan and started personally to be engaged in the work. Nakuha nyo? In-engage siya talaga yung sarili niya dun sa mission na pinapagawa sa kanya ng Panginoon. So those are the personal application. Now, I want you to discuss these 3 questions. 3 lang po ito. What burden has God placed in your heart for your ministry or community? Number 2, how can prayer become more central in your leadership decisions? And number 3, what kind of opposition do you face in the ministry? I want you to share there are oppositions or there are problems in your ministry right now, or in your life right now. I-share nyo sa group. And before ending the group discussion, I would like to encourage everyone to pray for one another, especially those who are facing opposition. So, and let's find out how can we overcome those opposition God's way. Okay? Diyan tayo natatapos sa Book of Nehemiah. Thank you so much. This is ang ilan sa inyo na-add na ako sa sa Facebook. Yung iba po, if you want to contact me, like nyo lang po ako, then you can message me